Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Victorious, and today, when I was going for my daily walk, I started to channel messages and different things that really I overlooked. And I overcame a lot of things in my life, and I didn't understand how. But I knew that it was only because, by the power of God and the grace of God, that I was able to overcome things because I didn't do it alone. A lot of times we go through certain things in life that we feel like overtakes us. We go through things in our childhood that makes us feel defeated, makes us feel like we can't go on, or that we don't want to go on. But I want to let you know today that we all are overcomers. I'm an overcomer in my own life, and I've seen people overcome in their lives. And sometimes we decide that we don't want to continue to fight, we don't want to continue to push on, we don't want to continue to evolve into the greatest version of ourselves. But I'm here to tell you that if you do not stop and you continue to push forward, no matter what the present moment may be or what the past has given you, that you can continue to move forward and overcome any obstacle that's placed before you. And for example, when I was about 8 or 9 years old, I was S8, and it was by a relative of mine, and she was an older cousin, and without saying names, because I don't want to put anyone out there, but if you see this, I forgive you, and I wish you well. And when she was babysitting me and my two younger sisters, this happened between the ages of 8 to 10. She was babysitting my youngest two sisters and I, and the day that I specifically remember, because this happened over a period of 2 years, she put my two sisters to bed to take a nap, and she took me into the other room. And when she took me into the other room, she undressed me. She undressed herself, and she began to do things to me as an 8-year-old that my body was not ready to receive, that my body was not ready to respond to at that time. Not understanding at the time that she was not aware of her actions. Let's just say that. And she was putting her mouth on me in places where my body at the age of 8 could not and would not respond. And she would make me put my mouth in places on her that made me feel sick, make me feel not like myself, make me feel wrong and nasty and just like unclean. And I didn't understand at the time what was going on, but because this was someone that I trusted, this was my older cousin, this was someone who was put over me as an authority to watch me, protect me, make sure I had everything that I needed until my parents got home, my mom and my stepdad. And this happened for years. And it wasn't until I was the age of 30 and I finally told my mom, I'm now 39, but I told my mom at the age of 30 that this happened to me. And she didn't know why I didn't speak on it before. And for me, I didn't think anyone would believe me, because if they don't believe me, then what? Now I have to live with this regret. Now I have to live with, thank you, Spirit. Now I have to live with this reputation of being a liar or being a deceiver or trying to get someone in trouble. But this wasn't something that was make-believe. This wasn't something that was pretend. This was something that was actually happening to me on a regular basis. And most people, especially men, would say nowadays that she popped your cherry or she was making you a man, but not at the age of 8 years old. I was not ready for that. My body had not yet responded, and me being a late bloomer that I am, I definitely wasn't ready. I didn't even start going into puberty and maturing until about 17, which is much later than other young men my age. And so at the age of 30, when I finally told my mom, she was a little upset and she didn't understand why I was quiet. And like all things that I pretty much do as an adult, I go through things on my own. I internalize those things and try to deal with those issues on my own and try to handle it on my own the best way that I can. And I realized at the age of 30 that she was only doing to me what someone else was doing to her, because she was about 15, 16 at the time, and I'm 8 years old at the time. And it wasn't until 30 where I realized I could not blame her. I could not hold her accountable for her actions because, hear me out, she was only doing to me what someone else was doing to her. For a 16-year-old to put her mouth on the private area of an 8-year-old, any adult with common sense will know that an 8-year-old is not going to get erect. This has to be a huge and early puberty child at the age of 8. That was not me. Like I said, I'm a late bloomer. So for her to put her mouth on my genitalia, expecting for me to get aroused, I knew that she was not responsible, nor could she be held accountable, because someone was doing to her what she was doing to me. And that spirit that thank you, Spirit. The spirit that was attached to her, the entity, was doing to me what it made someone else do to her. And when I sat back and thought about it, and I really took a step back and decided to, look at the bigger picture, as my mom would say, I was angry, and I grew up in certain energies and certain lifestyles and certain mannerisms because this event traumatized me. So with that being probably one of the first, if not the first, traumatizing scenarios that happened to me, I got stuck in that energy of an 8-year-old. So I had an 8-year-old mindset growing up, and I'm already a late bloomer. So it just suffocated me and my growth and my evolution to become who I am now becoming. Because I decided to go to therapy, and I decided to heal those parts of me that were broken. And a lot of times we go through life and we try to put things together on our own, and we can't. And I'm gonna tell you why we shouldn't. Because think about it. If you break your arm and you don't go to the doctor and you try to place a stent around it, and the bone is not placed back in the correct positioning, that could cause for it to be re-injured or to get infected, or could possibly be a loss of your arm, your nervous systems, and the ability to utilize that arm. However, if you break that arm and go to the hospital to see the nurses and the doctors, they can place the bone back into the space in which it belongs, wrap it, put a cast on it, and allow it time to heal how it's supposed to, and you can regain the feeling in your hand and your fingers to be able to utilize that later in life. So I say that to say, healing things on our own is not the best idea, but if you have to heal alone, involve God, involve your higher power, whatever that may be. Because as a child, I went through that experience not knowing what SA was, not knowing that the person that was assigned to protect me in that moment wasn't there to protect me. They were only doing what others were doing to them. And that's unfair. Because hurt people, and misery loves company. And how I grew from that scenario and how I overcame that event in my life, I didn't allow that to overtake me and to change my heart and to change me as a person. I was not the victim that became the prey. I wasn't the prey that became the predator, if that makes sense. I didn't go and start sexually assaulting others. I didn't go and start doing things to others that she had done to me. I broke that cycle. I broke that curse. I broke that pattern. And for those of you who are struggling with getting over that and healing that part of yourself, know that it is possible. But don't do it alone. Talk to somebody. Even if you believe that they won't believe you, you have to release that energy from yourself, because that energy is sitting dormant and lying within you. And it's going to eventually grow because it's feeding off of your innocence and your heart space. And it keeps you in unforgiveness. And when things keep us in unforgiveness, that means that that person, place, or thing now has control over our vessel. So if it has control over our vessel, it means it controls us. The only thing that should have control over us is the Most High God. That's it. Because we are in alignment with the Most High God, those of us who believe. So now being 39 and have overcome that part of my testimony, my story, I now can help others go through to heal that part of themselves. I can only tell you my experience. Your experience is something totally different. So sometimes we go through things in life and we think, why is God doing this to me? Why would God allow this to happen to me? And majority of the time, it's because God wants us to be vocal and to express what's going on to stop it from happening to other people. So parents, be careful who you allow to watch your children. Be careful who you allow to be around your children without you present. Children, be vocal if someone is touching you and it makes you feel uncomfortable. If they're touching you in your private spaces, the places that no one should be touching except for you. Tell somebody. For guardians, be careful, because not everyone has good intentions. There are some people who are evil and have that spirit of pedophilia. So watch your children, keep them safe, ask them questions, and if they're going somewhere, make sure you have all the information and talk with them to see if anyone is touching them in places and spaces that they shouldn't. So I hope this really helps somebody that maybe is struggling mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally with things that have happened to them and their innocence being taken without their permission. You have permission to say yes or no, no matter what age you are. You have permission to say yes or no. So, I hope this helps someone. I hope this helps someone heal. And if you have any questions, I want to know more about my story, comment down below. And yeah, we're in this thing together. We only have each other. So let's heal each other. One moment at a time, one day at a time. Because we are all we got. Love and light to you. Peace.